Alright guys, our second worksheet for our introduction into OnShape and CAD modelling. So if we have a look at our part, this one's got a little bit more square, but again we've got some detail from the front, side and top view. What we're going to probably start with, I think in this case, is we're going to do the front view first. So we'll get the main dimensions of that triangle there, and then we'll come over to the side or end view and do the cutouts to be able to finalize that. So we can see this one is actually made out of brass. We'll do that, and hopefully we'll get the mass the same as we see over here. So let's get into modeling that. So I'm going to come back over here. We're going to create our new document, and this is going to be my worksheet 2, still in that same folder. So he's going to start going through there. If we have a look at my dimensions, there'll be a couple little key things that we'll need to think about when we develop this, but let's get our 140 rectangle by 80 is where we are at. So this is on our front, so I'm going to create my sketch on the front view. I'm going to type N to take me normal to that flat view there. I'm going to go from my origin, click that out, and what did I say? We have 140 by 80. 140, enter, 80, enter. If you forget to type those in, you can always come back up to dimension and lock those in. But now I've got that set up, you can notice that it's black. Now if I come back down, I've got a line to go in 65 and 15 down. So I'm going to just add in a line for the moment. Just make sure it doesn't lock into the middle. So see how that's trying to go midpoint, because it's not that. Now I can move that anywhere on the line, but this is where I'm going to add my dimensions. So if we have a look back over, 65 and 15 is what I need. So I need my dimensions. Those two are 65, and then that one from those 2 points was 15. Now, if you want to, you could go and trim that out. Doesn't matter, because what we're going to do next is just extrude from there. So select the face that you want. How deep do we need it to go? If we have a look, it's 100 all the way back. So that's the dimension we need. 100 there. And tick, happy days. So there's the front face of ours there. Now we're going to come over to the right view and add those details. Now, one of the errors that we sometimes see happen here is you start trying to do a sketch on that plane. Now, if I do a sketch on that one, we're going to end up, you notice it's on an angle. All my dimensions that have been taken from here are actually on the flat plane here. So I'm going to go through and remove that. Now I could do this either on this plane here, or I could do it on the right plane over here as well. So either one will work, but I've got it going on here so we can see that's where it's sitting. So I'm going to go back to normal view there, and I have got some dimensions to add in. So we can see we've got a little rectangle to add at the bottom, which is 25 by 56. So let's drop that on first. 25 by 56. There it is there. And I might lock that in straight away. So at the moment we can see he can go anywhere along there because I drew it on that line. So you can see the coincident relationship there. But now we want this guy to actually be equal. So I'm actually going to use a center line, and I'm going to add construction to that. So if I hover over this guy, when we get to that midpoint, I'm going to drop that in there. At the moment, it doesn't matter how high I go. I'll lock that in. Let's have a look. How tall does it need to be? It's 80. So let's dimension that one. So D for the shortcut. He wants to be 80. or I could have used a coincidence to tie it into that top line there, but we've got that there, and we're going to use a symmetric here. So I'm going to choose that line, and then the symmetric line there, which should allow me 2, 3, and he's not going to play. Oh no, we've got the whole thing moving. So he's good, but I need that locked into that midpoint there of that line. So now that can't move around, and we're looking good. So the next thing we're going to jump in and have a look at is, I knew that was symmetric because I can see 22 on both sides, is now I've got this shape up here. Again, I can see that it is symmetric, so I'm going to just do half of that and work from there. So I've got my 75 for that one there from the middle. So this is quite cool now. I can go and I'm going to draw my rough shape. Now I know it's going to be starting there, to there, to there, to there. Now if I have a look, that gives me that common shape. I can see the sizes that I can easily do is that 13. So let's add that dimension in. 13. I know that that line there is 12.5 in from the edge. So let's tie that in. 12.5. Now I'm going to add a coincident. So that one is in line with that line there. So now that's locked in. I can still move this around because he's not fixed. So let's see what other dimensions I've got there. So if I have a look, I've got 75 from side to side. So what I can do here is I'm going to again go to my dimension, and I'm going to go 37.5 is already there because I've got that locked in. So he is the right dimension there, and 15. So if I click that one, I can make him 15 divided by 2, and then that will solve that. Now if I have a look, that's looking pretty close. Is there any other information that I have that's going to be helpful there? And we're kind of missing some information to be able to actually decide on how deep this guy's going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and this is sometimes what we need to do if you're not given all the information, is we can see that that space there is a little bit bigger than that. It's probably a little bit wider than that, so I'm going to make that a 16. Now there's no, and this is where we can actually do a little bit of testing when we get to the mass. This is my big question mark. So I'm going to add my dimension from that line to that line, and I'm going to say about 16, and we'll see how we go from there. So now I've got that, what I can do is I'm going to mirror. So the first thing it asks me to do is select a mirror line, which is going to be that middle line. And then I can go through and select the lines that I would like it to mirror. Now, the last thing I probably want to do is add my line up the middle to enclose that shape. So notice how it went grey, and that is all fixed. So what I need to do now is I'm going to finish that sketch, and I'm going to extrude that shape and that shape as a remove. And instead of going blind, I'm going to go again that through all again. So now I've got that cut through, and I've got my shape looking pretty close to what is there. Now let's go through and change the material. So we said it was brass, and there it is. We're going to go tick on that, and let's have a look at what properties we have. So 4.872, 4.91. If we take, so we're a little bit heavy, No, a little bit light. So let's try. Okay, so we're trying to get that mass about 4.914. So what we can do now is we actually go back in and adjust that sketch. So I'm going to double click or right click on him to edit it again. And you can see that I've already had a little bit of a play. I paused the video and I've added, changed that out. So we had a little bit more material because we needed a bit more weight, and it's out to 17.2. So if I now check that, and I'm going to display those mass properties again, we can see we're at 4.914, which is within 0.4 of the gram that we're asking for. So that there is the dimensions that we're looking for, which is fantastic. So let's leave it there. We've got our material. You could always change the look of it, but I've just left it there as we go.